E3 is upon us once again.
Yay! I'm gonna be there.
I'm not going to be there.
Aw, 5 stay home. 10s get to go to LA.
That is richly unfair. But just because we're going to be in different places doesn't mean we can't all get excited about this year's E3. So without any further ado, here are 8 things we can't wait to see at this year's Electronic Entertainment Expo.
That I'll see and you'll see slightly later than me.
So here's a sentence I'm glad to be able to say again. I am really looking forward to seeing what the next Assassin's Creed is going to be like. I've been a fan of the franchise from the very beginning, but to be honest, after Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, it started to feel like a series of diminishing returns. I liked running around the London of Assassin's Creed Syndicate a lot, but it was hard to shake the feeling I'd done it all before. I think the decision to take a year out was a smart one from Ubisoft, and it'll be interesting to see what that additional development time has done for the next one. Given it's already sprung more leaks than your average assassination target, of course, everyone is pretty certain the next Assassin's Creed is set in ancient Egypt. Now, this is one of the settings fans have been clamouring for since pretty much day one. It's a fascinating period of history with a rich and vibrant culture, and when Ubisoft gets it right, it really knows how to build a nice open world. So to be honest, my hopes are pretty high for a game world that's fun to run around in. Of course, given how influential The Witcher 3 has been since it launched, it's reasonable to expect any open world game coming out in the near future will be cribbing at least something off Geralt of Rivia. Will Ubisoft show off a more Witchery Assassin's Creed, letting you cruise around in ancient Egypt? I certainly hope so, although, of course, I could be in denial. Sorry.
So, it seems the internet has had a lot to say about Far Cry 5 ever since it was officially announced, and most of what's being said is based on just a few pieces of artwork and a handful of flavour trailers. I'm looking forward to actually seeing something substantial come out of E3, because as much as I enjoy the Far Cry series, I'm keen to know whether this latest iteration is going to offer more than just reskinned eagles and bears and cougars on a slightly different mountain to the ones that we've seen in Far Cry 4. And Far Cry 3, and Far Cry Primal. I'm hoping there's going to be a significant shake-up to the gameplay, whether that means more varied vehicles or more imaginative weapons. It's hard to picture how 5 will make Montana feel like a lush, dense open world when compared to Karat and the Rook Islands, but I'm hoping to be pleasantly surprised. Also, tapping into some of Primal's gameplay, here's hoping we get a cool wolf companion like the one featured on the key art. He is definitely the goodest boy.
Wow, does the new Mario game look really weird. I'm talking about the good kind of really weird here, don't get me wrong, but I'm still just about processing the trailer we saw for Super Mario Odyssey back at the Switch presentation in January. His hat's got eyes now, alright, and he can use it as a platform. That's pretty cool, but let's be serious. The thing that has me the most excited / weirded out is New Donk City. Mario, the actual Mario, in an almost real-world setting. It looks bonkers, and I can't wait to play it. Thankfully, we know it's going to be playable at E3, and it's almost certain to be the flagship game of the show for Nintendo, given it's supposed to be out at the end of the year. Speaking of which, we'll want to hear the release date too, as we've only been told holiday 2017 so far. And on top of that, I'm really hoping they go all out on their booth design as they did last year with Breath of the Wild. That was brilliant, it just was. And I'm all about the idea of stalking Reggie again in the name of video content. So yeah, a New Donk City themed booth would be quite a lot of fun.
This is real grass. This is actual genuine grass. That's not fake.
During its big E3 conference last year, Bethesda announced that it had secretly been working on a VR version of Fallout 4 for the HTC Vive. Attendees of the conference, myself included, were then able to play a 2-minute demo set in the Sanctuary Hills Red Rocket gas station. That's the location where you first meet Dogmeat. There wasn't much to do in the demo except explore the building and take pot shots at the scenery with Fallout 4's signature 10mm pistol, but still it was exciting to revisit a very familiar location in VR, and the brief hands-on allowed me to get a little glimpse at how the final experience might play. Thankfully, we should be seeing a lot more of Fallout 4 VR this year, as Bethesda has confirmed it'll be making a proper appearance at the show. But how much has changed since last year's threadbare demo? Hopefully we'll get to see some proper combat this time, with a demonstration of how VATS will work in VR. Also, in last year's demo, movement was restricted to teleporting, so hopefully they'll be introducing a free move control system for those of us with stronger VR stomachs. bollocks. The thought of being able to properly immerse myself in the radiated remains of Boston really is tantalising, even though I've already pumped around 200 hours into the base game. What I really want to know though is, will it also be releasing for PSVR? I do hope this is on the cards because I have neither the room nor the money to invest in a Vive. Come on, Todd, don't let me down.
Let's go, pal.
So what do you want?
Life is Strange has a lot of fans within the Eurogamer team, and so ever since the first season wrapped up, we've been hungry for more. It's been interesting to see how many fans want a completely new story with a new location and new characters, compared to those that want to return to Arcadia Bay and its inhabitants and find out what happened after the dramatic climax of Season 1. While developer Dontnod has recently confirmed that it is working on a new Life is Strange game, leaked images and artwork surfacing just last week point to the possibility that a separate Life is Strange prequel will be unveiled at E3, which will chart the friendship between Chloe Price and Rachel Amber, the girl whose disappearance kicks off many of the events in the main game. What's more, the prequel doesn't seem to be in development by Dontnod, but instead Deck 9 Games, a studio formerly known as Idle Minds, whose previous work mostly included licensed tie-in games and mobile titles. It's an interesting move. Personally, I'm not sure what more I'd actually want from a story focusing on Chloe, and I like the fact that we never actually got to meet Rachel Amber over the course of Life is Strange, despite learning so much about her life from lots of sources, many of them unreliable. It painted a picture of a troubled individual, though without ever being able to see the real person for ourselves, players had to decide on their own what to believe. I'm also curious to see how the gameplay of a sequel will work without Max, and thus presumably without the use of her ability to rewind time. I'm glad that Dontnod seem to be working on their own Life is Strange project, but I'm not sure a sequel by a third-party studio is what many Life is Strange fans want. All that said, I'm certainly interested to see how the whole project is handled.
Captain Blazkowicz, still fighting after all these years.
There's another Bethesda game heavily rumoured to be making an appearance at the show this year. Its name? Wolfenstein The New Colossus. The rumours started last year when Bethesda released this mock-DOS boot screen during E3 2016. It shows the release dates for a lot of old id games, but there was one exception, something called New Colossus, which had its release date blanked out. Now, New Colossus is the name of a sonnet that was recited by BJ Blazkowicz at the end of Wolfenstein The New Order. So I'd say the inclusion of the name on that list is more than just a happy coincidence. What we'll actually be doing in Wolfenstein New Colossus remains a mystery for now, but considering that sonnet is also etched onto the base of the Statue of Liberty, it seems likely that the alternate World War II setting will be moving from Europe over to a Nazi-occupied United States.
What have you been up to, Blazkowicz?
Shooting, stabbing, strangling Nazis.
Ooh, I reckon it's about time for some more XCOM, you know. It's been, what, about 16 months since the release of XCOM 2, and although we did see an eventual console version and some DLC bits and pieces, I think there's something bigger in the works. An expansion, hopefully. We saw this happen with the previous game, XCOM Enemy Unknown, which had some smaller bits of DLC once again, and then a big expansion in the form of XCOM Enemy Within. And something's telling me that's the plan for XCOM 2. If you completed the game and successfully thrown off the shackles of Alien Control, you'll know there's a little teaser right at the end there that suggests there's more to come. And I mean, yes, that could be pointing towards the next full game in the series, but look at the Civilization titles. Firaxis has a history of supporting their games with meaningful expansions. That's just what they do. And I think if that is in the works, it's about the right time for us to hear about it. Yeah, more XCOM 2, please.
Yes, sir.
Talking of interesting settings, one of the announcements that really grabbed me during last year's E3 was the new God of War, which was a surprise really, given I'd never actually played a God of War game before. I am, however, a sucker for Norse mythology, so I'm eager to learn more about how that's woven into the game. The story itself looks pretty intriguing too, with last year's demo showing Kratos in full-on dad mode. It seems like a pretty bold choice. It's certainly one that's made me sit up and really pay attention to God of War for the very first time. Oh, and especially since it's just been delayed, I am really looking forward to spending another E3 not hearing anything about Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm not angry about that at all.
So there you go, those are some things, although I'm very much expecting a lot of surprises as well.
Definitely, it's not an exhaustive list,
No.
let's put it that way.
It's so exciting.
But thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, there are lots more surrounding and obscuring us right now. Do like and subscribe to stay on top of all our E3 coverage, because there's gonna be a lot of it. So yeah.
Yes, I will see you there. He won't, I will. Bye!